right, so today will be Tuesday, November the 14th. The table of contents, you are dividing decimals. So if you will go ahead and label that in your table of contents, this is going to go in the notes section, and I'm on page 45. So go to whatever page you're on in your notes, and then you have these right here, either whole sheets that you need to cut out or they're cut out for you. So if you will look at this one first, and it just says division of decimals, and it says I can divide decimals to the hundredths, okay? You are going to simply put 2 dots of glue that into the top of your notebook there. And then here's our next one. It's finding quotients. So step 1 is going to be shade 45 hundredths. Guys, 45 hundredths is just, there's 100 of these squares, so 45 of them. So my answer is my question is find the quotient of 45 hundredths divided by 5 hundredths. So step 1 is I've got to color in 45 hundredths. So that's 45 squares. So we know they go by tens. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 5. That's 2, 4, 5. So 45 out of the 100 I colored in. Okay? They do not need to be perfect. Don't spend all of our time coloring. We need to make sure that we're doing the math. Step 2 is divide into groups of 5 hundredths. Well, remember, one square is a hundredth, like a penny. So if I'm telling you to group them into 5 hundredths, that means you need 5 in the group. So 5 pennies, 5 hundredths. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a group. And then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another group. 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 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a 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 group. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to label. I have one group, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my answer is what? How many groups did I get? How many groups do you have? I have 9. Okay? 9 what? All right, so think about that. I have 9 groups. So if I were to actually divide this problem out, and I'm going to go ahead and do that right here, my first number, when it's written like this, goes in the box. It is the dividend. So I can put 0.45 or I can put 45. It does not matter. So I'm going to go ahead and put 0.45. I'm going to write it just like it's written here. And I'm dividing that by 0.05. I cannot divide with a decimal outside the house. I have to move him. Wherever I do to move him to the house, I got to do inside the house too. So 1, 2, he now goes there. 1, 2, he now goes there. So I'm going to have a new problem, and my new problem is going to be 45, right? My decimal's now at the end because I moved him, divided by 5. Because that decimal is there and those zeros fall away. So now I ask myself, does 5 go into 4? No. Does 5 go into 45? Yes. 9 times, and 9 times 5 is 45. I subtract, I'm left with 0. My decimal's at the end, and I'm at the end of the house. I'm at the wall. Okay? So I get 9 groups. So there's my answer. If you will, so it shows the same thing I did here, got me that by doing it with the grid. So if you'll glue that into your notebook. Okay? You have another sheet, looks like this. Put that on a new page. Again, we're not gluing until we've written on it. So I'm going to write it out right here. I want you to do the exact same thing. I want you to take your first number here and color them in on your grid. 27 hundredths, 27 pennies, 27 of those squares. And then I want you to group them and 9s. Okay, and then it'll give you your quotient. Then I want you to do a division problem underneath it to check it. Let's go to the next one. I want you to shade in 42 hundredths, 42 pennies. Divide them into groups of 7 or 7 hundredths, okay? And then figure out your quotient. Check it by dividing right underneath it. And then same thing for here. 4 tenths. Guys, that's 4 whole tenths or 40 pennies, 40 hundredths. So we would color in 40 of them, group them into 5s for 5 hundredths, and find the quotient. So I want you to pause the video and work those 3 problems and then come back and check it. All right, so 27, I colored in 27 of them. I grouped them in groups of 9. And how many groups did I get? I got 3. So my quotient is 3. I'm then going to put that 27 in the box, and I'm dividing by 9. Well, I've got to move that decimal 1, 2, 1, 2. So that decimal goes here, and then it's there. So I moved that decimal so that I did not have a decimal in my divisor. Okay, and then I would divide. 9 doesn't go into 2, but it goes into 27 3 times. 3 times 9 is 27, leaves me 0. So that's how I know I'm right. Here, notice I have 1 group, 2, 3, 4, and this 5, those 2 go with these 5 to make the group of 7, and then there's 6. So I think my quotient is 6. So let's check it. I have a decimal outside because remember this is going to be my divisor. So 1, 2, get him to the end of the house, get him to the end of the number. 1, 2 becomes 42. So 42 divided by 7. 7 doesn't go into 4. It goes into 42 6 times. 6 times 7 is 42. Leaves me with nothing. My decimal's at the end. He just goes up. Okay, so it is 6. Here I had 40 of them shaded in, or 4 tenths. Grouped them in 5 hundredths, and that gave me 8 groups. And again, move my decimal because my second number here, when it's written out like this, is my divisor, and he is outside the house and he cannot have a decimal. So what I do to one number, I must do to the other. So that becomes 40 divided by 5, and 5 doesn't go into 4, but it goes into 40 8 times, and 8 times 5 is 40, leaves me with 0. So if you will go ahead and glue that into your math log as well on your next available sheet. And then you have this sheet right here, which is your try me. If you will start on the grid side, I am going to give you 4 division problems that you are going to do on your grid sheet to turn in, and then you will do rips on your 6 problems back here. But I'm going to give you the problems. Again, this is going to be turned in with your name on it. I'm going to give you the problems that you are going to write for your division. So I would like you to do in your grid 4.24 divided by 4. So 4 and 24 hundredths divided by 4, or $4.24, depending on the problem. Here, I would like you to divide 3.25 divided by 5. And you're dividing that out. Okay, I'm going to skip down, and I would like you to divide 201 and 6 tenths. I'm going to make that line go over it, divided by 9. And then your last problem is going to be $25.11 divided by 9. So you're going to skip, I'm going to make this line a little better. You're going to skip that money sign. I just put it in there so you knew it was money. Draw my houses a little darker so you can see them. So you're going to divide those 4 problems out, and then you are going to flip those over and do your word problems and make sure your name is on it and turn that into the bucket for your try it.